Good afternoon. Happy summer 2024. We have such an amazing gift right now. We have Faith. Hello, everyone. We have Shanti, who we love,
Hi.
and we have Abby. And
Hi.
we're having girl talk, teen talk today to kick off summer 2024. And you'll have to forgive me because I had surgery, so my throat's kind of out of it, and I'm gonna let the girls talk. So tell everybody what you've been up to, what you're doing, how your summer's going, and I'll be over here producing. So who can go first?
I can go first if
Let Nancy go first.
all right. It's actually I've been in summer for a month now. Um, but I've done like a lot of just like random things. I went up to Berkeley for a book festival, and then I've also just been like catching up with friends and everything. I think it's like 5 days now. I'm gonna leave for New York, and I'm gonna be there for a month on my own doing the summer program. So I'm a little nervous for that, but I'm also really excited because I did it last year, and it was like the best experience of my entire life. So I get to like take classes and just have a lot of fun and meet a lot of people. And then I also have to like in tandem with that do a lot of book marketing. So I'm a little nervous about that. Um, because I have to like keep all the same responsibilities that I have at home, only in a completely different city with classes and everything too. So I'm like, I'm going to school, but I'm also doing
Where do you stay when you're up there?
so it's the school of the New York Times and it's at Fordham University. And it's very fun. It's a really cool campus. Like it's in Manhattan, so there's like everything is nearby.
Hmm.
What about you, Miss Abby? What have you been up to?
Um, Not much, honestly. Reading a lot.
She loves to read. Didn't you just come back from an amazing first time vacation?
I did just come back. It was awesome. I can't wait to go back. So that was nice. Uh, Georgia's hot, but not as hot as here. Uh,
You and Faith had a lot of fun.
we did. I still think Michael's still a bit mad at the marshmallows in his truck.
He'll be fine. They pranked each other the whole time. So, Faith, what about you? I had a great time because my cousin was there.
You're welcome.
I just want to say, Faith just did her fifth book and published it, which is amazing. And the book is all
That's
about
amazing.
thanking her dad and I for saving her life. It's called Phoenix Whispers Legacy, Rain's loving tribute to her beloved parents. And she wrote this to thank us for staying with her and helping her get through what she just went through for 5 months. And it's beautiful. And I follow Shanti so closely. I think she's amazing. Every time I turn around, she's got another book out, another one out. So what are we at now? 28, 30? Where are we?
So I'm writing number 31 right now, and then I published
Wow.
17, but number 18 comes out in I guess it's 15 days. I just did the math in my head, so it might be wrong. Um, and that's just the third book in the Never Dying series.
Tell us
That's
about
cool.
tell us about the book.
So, it's called Never Far, and I know we've talked about it before. Never Dying is my most popular series. It's the sci-fi dystopian one about immortals. It's a ton of fun. And originally, this third book was supposed to be the last book in the series because I just really wanted it to be a trilogy, and then I wanted it to be done. Except no, there's a fourth book that I wrote. Genuinely, it was supposed to be one book, and then I had to split it in two. So I wrote the fourth book same time. Right. Um, so now it's like tricky because I have to like let people know like, hey, this third book isn't actually the last one. Uh, but yeah, I'm really excited for it.
Well, for people who have never had the pleasure of hearing you, Shanti, on our podcast, and I would love for you to take a moment and tell everybody how you now are such an advocate for bullying. I love that about you and your spirit for it. Can you kind of go back over and tell us how that started? Because I know Abby doesn't.
Oh yeah, of course. So, I've experienced bullying a lot just, you know, in elementary school and middle school. Middle school was particularly bad, as you know. That's when I wrote You Won't Know Her Name, which is basically a novel told in poetry, and it's based on a true story um, of what happened to me. And through that, I was able to reach a really really great audience, and I was really able to connect to a lot of people who'd experienced similar things. So I've used that book throughout the years to really advocate for better bullying policies in schools.
Can you tell us what happened to you that inspired this book specifically?
Ooh. Yeah, so when I was in sixth grade, I met this person and they were a part of my friend group. And I don't want to like spoil the book,
No,
so I
don't
can't
spoil
like
it.
go
Yeah,
too much into it.
right.
But it was a really dark time. There were a lot of things that happened that really like crossed my boundaries and other people's boundaries. And following that, I was told by my school that, oh, this is just middle school. It happens all the time. And I was like, no, absolutely not. And from there, I just was like, you know, no, we need to make a difference because clearly, you know, one, something's wrong with our mindsets, and two, like, you know, bottom line, this just can't keep happening.
I told her before she graduated that year when this came out, I said, you need to take a copy, sign it, and put it on your principal's desk because it's about about the school she was in. And I think that that would have been fantastic. But I said to her, how challenging would it be to be her English teacher and get one of her papers? Can you hear Shanti? She's going to be like, you gave me a B? Are you kidding? I've written more books than you've read. Are you serious? You know, who would want to grade her papers? You know, because she's so smart. Her books are amazing. They are
Thank you.
so amazing. So we have avid readers. Abby reads like a book in what, a day or two at the most.
Yeah, I read a bunch of online books at the moment because um most of the time I've been going a lot of places and it's harder to bring like a physical copy, so I read like one or two a day, depends on like really how long they are. But yeah.
How are you doing with your reading, Faith?
I'm good on and off, but I'm actually writing in the book.
She is writing a new book. You know, tell us about it.
It's called The Experiment. It's about six people who wake up in a lab, like a regular lab, do not remember anything, but each one has a special ability or clue. For example, there's a girl who like when she woke up, when she was, there was a rainbow waiting all around her. Like the place was put in, not connected was for anything, the devil whatever I like to call it, and she understood every single word of it. So basically, she and five others have to find out the memory what happened all that. And at one point the memories connect and they have to stop the people who turn them into what they are now and make sure that never happens to anyone else.
That sounds amazing. It
This
really,
is the one you sent me.
oh,
Yeah.
you sent it to her. Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I read a bit of it that you had like typed up and stuff. It looked really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to ask you guys, being that y'all are incredibly brilliant and genius minds here, what do you guys think about the whole LGBTQIA plus community in schools now? Because I get a lot of teens either 100% for it or 100% against it. The whole pronoun thing, the whole identifying thing. I've heard both sides, but these are three incredibly brilliant, beautiful, genius people we have on today. And I want to know what y'all's thoughts about that is. Go ahead, Shadi.
Okay, okay. Personally, I don't have any problem with it because I think, first off, you know, a lot of LGBTQ students are victims of bullying. So
Mhm.
from a bullying standpoint, you know, doing things to make people more comfortable in the classroom, really, it's not hurting anyone. So personally, like, I have no problem with it, and I think that the more we do to make everyone comfortable, the better the learning environment is.
I agree. What about you, Ab?
Um, I'm definitely for it. I don't really care who you love. Love is like love and all of that. But uh There's I don't see at my school we don't do like there's not much bullying about it honestly, so I don't understand the bullying portion. So like I don't get why it's happening because like at my school like I said it doesn't happen. So um it's just something that I know kids at my school are and like no one really cares. Like I don't see anything against it or anything, so
It's really odd because it depends geographically because Logan had, has come on and been very vocal about his position. Excuse me, he has kids in his class that identify as a cat or identify as a desk or anything like that. And they now have cat litter in the bathroom. So the kids identifying as cats can go to the bathroom when there's cat litter. And Logan is very much against it, and he comes out very strongly that there's only two types of people. There is a boy or a girl. You're born with it or you're not. And even if you trans over, you're still never going to be a woman because you can't have kids and all this. And he is right, but he's younger than everybody here, but he has such an incredibly strong stance about it. And you don't deviate him. You can't let him even, you can't open his mind to it. He's just stuck. He's like, my friend used to be a boy and I hung out with him all the time. And now he goes in the girls' bathroom and goes to the bathroom and he dresses and dresses. And literally, I just have such a problem with it. And that it doesn't even matter what he identifies as, but he's like, if you're gay or straight, whatever, but you can't identify as young as we are as somebody who is transing into an opposite sex because we don't even know what we want our next birthday party to be. And he's, very adamant about that. That's why I wanted to hear what y'all's, over. What do you think about it, Faith?
I'm 100% for the community. I don't care if they're black, lesbian, trans, or what you say about they, that, or all that. I don't care because be yourself. That's all it matters. But one thing I would not appreciate, okay, is bullying when it comes to that. Because some people in the community get bullied for that, and some people, I'm rather not say it, but sometimes it's like too bad when people aren't caring. I'm saying that.
Right.
So that is like 1,000%.
I think it's interesting how it depends on the state you reside in as to how the schools are running this because everyone here is in a different state and you guys have it great. But Logan has said, I wish they would take the time to focus on our academics and our learning as they do and how much time they do our programs. Because like we don't do math, we don't do cursive, we don't write anything. It's all done on the computers. He was like, but if you call somebody and say, hey, Tommy, and Tommy is Tammy, you go to the principal's office. And I'm like, there's so much better that we could be doing to just include everybody that doesn't single anybody out. I mean, that's like singling Faith and I out because we're a redhead, or singling Shanti out because she's, a famous writer and she's got curly hair, or Abby because you and I have glasses. I mean, why put so much emphasis on it? Just let these kids be themselves. And I don't mean kids as in little. I'm talking about like you guys 2-year-olds kids. That's what I'm saying. I mean, like in kindergarten and first grade, they now have drag queens coming and reading to kids. Yeah.
I'm okay with rapping how critical they are, but the kids that are late in the teenagers, like late teenagers, for that happen,
Yeah.
not for my kids.
What do you
For
think,
them,
Shanti?
I'm a
What do you think, Shanti, that Disney is pretty much doing away with Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and Donald and making them part of the LGBTQ community now?
Oh, I didn't hear about that, but I didn't hear about that. But I mean, like, see, personally, like, I just like, love everyone. I don't mind. I think that it's honestly like good that Disney is working on representation because in the past they haven't been. However, it would be nice, for them to also incorporate new characters as well.
Right.
Because, in some ways it can be kind of lazy to just take an old character rather than like we could create a new character. But also like I don't have too big of a problem with it because, I personally think that there are like bigger problems in the world than how people
Absolutely.
identify and who people choose to love. And it's like, then focusing on those problems is taking away from like real issues in the world.
And my other thing is that you have like as many special needs families as we work with. You have beautiful kids that want to go down to Disney, whether it's a Make-A-Wish or whatever. 3, 4, 5-year-old kids that want to go meet Mickey Mouse or Goofy or Pluto or Minnie and I don't think you're putting a perspective into their head they're not going to understand at that age. I mean, maybe have a quarter of Disney for like preschool, toddler ages so that they can go in there and not have to worry about the confusion of what this is because they don't know at 3 and 4 years old. But let them have a small corner somewhere. And then if they want to go out and see everybody else, that's fine. I'm all for that. Let them do that. But we don't need to start confusing our kids who may not even be or just now be in preschool. You know what I mean? Like let them have their own, like you go somewhere and they all at a playland and there's always like a play field for younger kids and a play field for older kids. So that's why my thought is why don't you guys just have a smaller play field? Because they can't ride the rides that young, most of them, if they're not tall enough. And they should have their own area where they can go meet their Mickey Mouse who they've read all about, or their Disney. And then if they want to go see the LGBTQ community, then they have a choice. Abby, you're so quiet. It's so nice. You can share with us. What do you want to say?
I don't know. I mean, like, I agree, like, doing the separate stuff and stuff, but Shanti pretty much said, like, there are more important things to worry about and stuff, so.
1,000,000%. And when you take these kids to Disney or Epcot or wherever, and they have so much going on at home and they have so much going on in the world, and their parents are not really front and center to their family and their kids. And now you have this opportunity by going to one of the best places on earth, then you should let your trouble stay in the hotel or the door, whatever before you enter, and have that time with your kids as bonding time. And there are so many other things going on in the world that need immediate assistance. But I don't think Disney's one of them. Okay, way too much quiet.
I'm actually okay with the whole Christmas thing of the community because Christmas finally, not saying having before, because don't know, but finally showing that help with the community and letting the community have a mascot kind of it helps show that the community and what is okay to be one of them. And I get it, the whole mental health thing and all that because as a one of the top places that people there for so long. But also think that it is okay as long as places is okay and like not like cooperate or something like that
Collaborating.
with the LGBTQ community and all that.
Yeah. So what's going on for you next school year, you guys? What's on the road?
Oh, sorry, it cut out for a second.
What's on the road ahead
There you
for you when school starts back?
Should I go first?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'm starting 11th grade, which is
No
super scary
way!
because I have like 2 more years of high school left, but I swear I was just in middle school like a month
That's
ago,
what I was thinking.
but I'm
Yeah.
not. Yeah, so I'm gonna be a junior. I'm really excited because a lot of the classes I'm gonna take are really cool, and I'm really excited. Just because like really like my school, really like my friends, it's like a really great environment. And then I have to start thinking about college soon,
Oh.
which is also kind of crazy and pretty scary. But like all in all, like it's more exciting than it is scary.
Where are you thinking about going?
Ooh, I'm not sure. However, I do really like New York City. I mean, I'm wearing the NYU sweatshirt right now. So I probably would want to go there. Also, I've considered going back to Los Angeles because that's where I grew up, and I know there's a lot of colleges there. And then also I I just went up to Berkeley for the Bay Area Book Festival, and I really like UC Berkeley, so I could also like imagine myself there.
Well, Abby just got put into the National Honor Society. I'm so proud of her.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
Thank you.
That's awesome. And yeah, I remember when Shanti was in the 6th grade, and now like she's in 11th. Oh my gosh, it's crazy how fast that happens. Crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
What do you want to major in?
Oh, good question. Probably I'd say something like creative writing or screenwriting. Um, but I know a lot of colleges don't actually offer creative writing as a major. And I don't really want to major in English because I know it's a lot of just reading
Well,
really
you
old
will.
books.
Yeah.
Um, and while I do like English class, I don't really want to major in English. Um, so I think if like if not like creative writing or screenwriting, maybe I'd major in something like random that's just like cool that and fun to learn about. Because you
Yeah.
know, to be an author, you don't really need a college degree.
Absolutely. Tenfold agree. What are you thinking?
Honestly, they have it here. No, I'm really hoping I can go to class. Really hoping because art is my main career kind of, but also so it's fashion because I like to really design my own clothes. So I can wear like either one. And you know all the things I like to do.
And what are you, Abby Cadabby?
Sorry, could you repeat that? My little sister walked down here.
What do you want your major to be?
Oh, I'm thinking of either like English, because it's like one of my good subjects, and like I want to go into teaching for English, or like just education in general. So.
How is your
Yeah,
sister?
talking to. You want to speak?
Hey Shanti, how is your sister doing?
Oh, she's doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Who are
going
you
into the
talking
11th
to?
grade too?
Yeah.
Ow!
Hey boo boo. Hey boo boo bears.
You doing good? Lainey, you doing good? Yeah? Yeah.
She's so cute. So what's the next book you're doing? When all these are finished, what are you gonna start on next?
All right. So currently I'm currently writing the sequel to Little Green Man, which is the book that released I guess a little over a month ago now. It released on April 29th. Actually, well over a month ago now. Like a month and a half ago. Time flies.
Does.
So working on the sequel to that, and then also I'm working on finishing up the final draft of a children's book, which
What's that gonna be about?
all right, this is so funny. It's about a hermit crab because I have a stuffed hermit crab in my room and I was really bored one night and I was home alone and I was like, you know, I'm gonna write something new. So I literally just wrote a children's book about my stuffed animal and now like the illustrations are all done and the formatting's almost done. So that's kind of crazy.
So you don't have a specific like genre of places you like to write. You do sci-fi, you do this, you do that. Which one do you enjoy writing most?
Ooh, good question. So I really enjoy writing everything, you know, from children's to contemporary to, I mean, this is my first children's book, but you know, contemporary, sci-fi, of course, like most of my books are young adult. I will say that, of course, like I kind of have to be biased towards sci-fi because, you know, that was the first genre I ever wrote. I've written the most sci-fi out of everything. But you know, like it really changes depending on like how I feel and what I'm writing.
I've had people ask me after you've been on, how long does it take you on average to write a book?
Okay. So for a first draft, it's usually, I'd say anywhere from like 1 to 3 months. Um, I've probably already said this, but I do around 1,000 words every single day, if not more. And through that, that usually, you know, has the draft complete, depending on the length of the book and several months, if even. But then the editing can take up to a year or more. I'm always writing and editing a book, so that's how I'm able to keep writing more books while still stuck on one like editing project.
Do you have a publisher or an editor, or are you doing all that yourself?
Oh, yeah, I'm an editor, but I still self-publish with Amazon's KDP.
That is incredibly smart. It's so fast. She writes, she puts me to shame. I remember one of the times we had her on, and I was like, oh, I got my first book done when I was 30. And she was like, I was in 6th grade. And I'm like, Thanks so much.
Ashley, who are you talking to?
Yes.
Some friends.
What are their names?
They have names, yeah.
What are their names?
Names.
That's Faith and I'm Victoria.
See, that Faith, Victoria, and then the other girl, her name is Shanti.
She is a writer of the most amazing books ever.
Thank you.
They're so good. They're so good. So how did your mom and dad handle you not being around for a month?
Well, my mom's going with me. She's not like staying with me, but she's gonna go to stay in New York for a bit. Um, and then I'm gonna miss my dad and my sister because I'm
Yeah.
not gonna see them for a month. But I'm gonna see because there's gonna be like a weekend where I'm not gonna have anywhere to stay between the two like terms. Um, and I'm gonna like stay with my mom. So I get to see my mom, once in between, But
Why is your mom going to stay up in New York? Isn't her job where y'all are?
no, my mom is retired.
Oh, okay. That happened recently, right? Was that pretty recent?
Um, no, not really.
Huh. I don't know why I thought she worked. I didn't know she retired. That's a great blessing for you because you get to have her
Yeah,
get there with you. She's your travel buddy.
yeah.
That's awesome. So, what advice do you have for everybody that wants to start trying to write that they need to, and how do they start? You give the best TikToks ever, and I want to make sure I put
Oh,
that out
thank
there.
you.
Is that how do you format a character? Like, how do you start a character for your book, and how do you remember all the things for that character?
So, a lot of the stuff, when it comes to like remembering and like keeping things organized, I just do in my head. I have a really good ability to just remember things and just keep things. But also I do have often like notes written down or like Google Docs where I just, write down all the information about the characters. But really when you want to create a character, for me personally, my process is I always start with the name. I need to put a name to a face, or sometimes just a name to like the general outline of the character. And then I'll either start describing what they look like, or I'll go and I'll be like, okay, so what is this character's motives? What do they want to get? What are they going to get from the story? Um, and it really also depends on the type of book I'm writing. If I'm writing a book that's more character driven, then I'll really, really focus on the characters and I'll see how the character is going to influence the story. But if I'm writing a more plot driven book, then I'll be like, okay, well, how is the like story and the events in this book going to influence the character?
So, what like
So I did have a question for you, Shanti.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
So, when you have book ideas in your mind, how like, and if you have a hard time writing them down, how are you able to get them on paper if you have a hard time sometimes?
That's a great question.
Um, sorry, I cut out slightly. Hardcovers.
No, she's a
Oh,
she
sorry.
like you cut out. She
Covers.
said she
Yeah.
wanted to know like when you're doing your books and you want to write stuff down and you have so many ideas.
Oh, yeah.
And how are you able to write them down if they're hard for you?
Right. How do you end up
Uh,
writing all down?
Yeah, so honestly, like it's very messy. I'm not very good at keeping these things organized. For one, I have a thing. I just have this and I do it with every single book I'm writing or just in my notes app. I just write out like what just anything I want to happen, anything about the characters, anything that's gonna like be important later. And it's usually like I have some where they're like several thousand words of just random notes. Sometimes I write them in all caps, like I'm just like screaming at my notes app about something that I want to happen. So it's all very messy, but it really works for me. I also find that writing in the document is also really helpful. So, like at the bottom of the chapter, I'll just have like some notes of just things that are going to happen next and quotes that I want to add to scenes or even like a paragraph of a scene. And that really helps me remember like where I'm going.
If you guys, Abby, Faith, if you guys could write a book that's challenging for you, especially I want to hear what Shanti says. What kind of book would you write that you know would be a really hard challenge to finish?
Ooh, good question.
What's like
Right.
a Lego?
Lainey says a Lego book. Harry Potter, yeah. Not what they're talking about. A challenging book if I were to write one. I'm thinking more like something that's more like, I don't know, romancy or I don't really
would
do
you-
romance and stuff, so
I would say some kind of like mystery book
Ooh,
where
yeah.
there's, a lot of different clues and foreshadowing and really like a lot of different things that have to come together. And I've had some books that are like borderline mystery. For example, like Little Green Man is a bit of a mystery, but and that was very tricky. Really all the books where there's like multiple things going on and then all of those have to tie together to make sense. Those can be very tricky. It's like a puzzle where you like, you've written out all the pieces, but then you have to like figure out like where everything fits.
So I don't really have a specific call one, but I do have one idea about a girl who like something happened in her past and made her into an assassin that kills bad people and helps the good. But she makes her own weapon, kind of. For example, like a full spell split kind of, which you can cut into a staff or into the corners, or in a global blade of the corner and separate them.
That sounds really good. If there was something that you could write about that's going on in the world right now that's very troubling for you, what would it be?
um I don't know. I don't a child.
What about you, Shanti?
Ooh, I have to think about that for a moment. I have a couple different things that I could say. I'm trying to find a way to like, because it's actually I do have a book that's in my planning stage.
Yeah,
I just I'm trying. I don't know how much I can actually say about it.
yeah.
Um, without like
Getting it
giving
right.
away before I've even started writing it. Um, but I have like several different things I could go with for that. Um, anywhere from like war to more like personal things. Um, but yeah.
What would you do?
Maybe like something like mental health. Like I know that's a big thing going on. It's not really, I don't know how challenging really it is for me because maybe like some like stress or something like that, especially with schooling, with like how it's impacted from like COVID and then I've moved, so maybe with it moving and stuff. I don't
What do you guys face as the biggest challenge in school right now?
know. For me, it's finding something that's actually challenging. Because a lot of the things I've been taught, it's like to me, it's easy. No matter what I'm doing, it's easy to me, but I want something challenging that'll actually push me.
Mhm.
So I want that, but it's been hard to find. So taking like the higher your honors and your dual credit and your AP classes is definitely my route to try and find those challenging um steps in my academic.
What about you, Shanti?
Well, I could go with the obvious answer that's just like, well, bullying, but haven't experienced that in a while. I want to say that of course, mental health and like balancing, personal struggles with like academics can be very
Mhm.
tricky. But it's not like, it's manageable. And that's more of like a, personal problem. But
What do you find
What?
that is the hardest thing for you at your age right now?
For me, honestly, I have to say talking about the puzzles because for me personally, I had like I say a lot of stuff happening that to me I don't like to talk about, so I feel like I can for something out. So that's just me, honestly.
What advice do you guys have for, let's say, um, either an individual or a group of people who are around you all the time, and then you realize they're using you and then they don't need you anymore. How does your feel on that take?
I don't know. Um, I've never had that happen to me, so I don't really know. Um,
What about you, Shanti?
So if like someone finds himself in that situation, I let's see. I'm trying not to give like really bad advice. But it's like, like being in like a circle of people that's maybe not the best for you. That happens to a lot of people. So first off, you're not alone. Second, I'd really like, recommend like trying to very quickly just like try to find other people. Most often, schools are very large environments. There's a lot of people. And I think that you're guaranteed to find someone that's like going to be a true friend.
What kind of peer pressure do you guys experience at school now?
um, I've never experienced peer pressure, but I actually just had a class on peer pressure before like the end of my school year. It was about like vaping and like alcohol, doing drugs, like the normal stuff. But a big thing at my school is vaping. It's like
Are you allowed to
everywhere.
vape at your school?
No, but no, you're not allowed to vape, but everywhere you look, there are kids vaping. And I've I've had some, well, not some teachers, but I know of a teacher who didn't care and stuff, and they were just like, whatever. But it seemed to make the kids end up acting out more and stuff. So I don't know.
What
And then you're like pressuring the other kids, and they're like just sitting there and like,
what about you, Shanti? What are the peer pressures that go on in school these days?
A lot of like what was just said. But like things like, skipping class and, just doing things that could get you in trouble. Typically, like it can be hard to say no sometimes, but also like personally, like I really don't want to get in trouble. So I'm really hesitant to do like a lot of things.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of pressure from other kids based on like the cliques? Like people are just really hoarding in on like the special needs kids, or they have so many cliques and groups that they have people in, and then those people come back and start bullying them. Is that really dominant these days in school anymore?
Not where I go to school, but definitely in other places.
my school, you definitely notice like who's the popular, who's the jocks and stuff. Um, I do know, I had a class where these girls like to pretend to be friends with this one girl, and then behind her back, they would make fun of her.
Awful.
Yeah. Um, there, it was definitely like the populars against like the, I don't want to say loners because that's not what I'm looking for, but like the ones that people don't seem to like or don't seem to fit with. Um, but it's more the higher ups definitely doing it instead of like your freshmen or your sophomores. It's more your juniors and stuff. So
Is there a lot of violence in y'all schools?
yes, there was 7 fights within the first week of school, all including one girl.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. One of them resulted in, I don't remember. It was this girl against this one kid, and I think he ended up getting pushed down the stairs or something and like put in a chokehold. He was okay, I think. I've seen him around school, but nothing no like discipline ever given to her like ever seemed to fix anything. There were constant fights within our school. So,
What do you guys think you could do to make school better for everybody?
um, I don't know. There's a lot of things that people seem to have problems with. Yeah, other kids don't, so I don't really know.
What do you think, Miss Shanti?
I'd say focus on teaching like, kindness and like understanding of other people and different perspectives from a really early age. Because people aren't taught to be like awful, or not taught. There people are taught to be bullies. Like, you're not born like, oh, I'm just, a horrible person and I'm gonna go like ruin this person's day. That's usually, taught from somewhere. So from a really early age in schools, we can try to focus on, first off, like, including everyone and understanding that other people are different and really just loving everyone for who they are, then like we'd be in a much better place.
What do you think? How do we make kids better for each other? Or teens, sorry.
by finding like a connection between the two of them and like try to find a way without them realizing that they're more allies and kind of those kind of try to find a way that to get along.
Are any of y'all worried about school shootings in your school?
Um, Honestly, not really. There was an incident last year that I was a part of where this one kid threatened to bring a knife to school the next day for this one specific class that I was in. He made a list of who would be first and stuff, and he told me and my friend to not show up the next day. Um, I didn't know any of this until the next day. Even though I was like in the class, but no one was really paying attention, and even the teacher wasn't paying attention. But that's the one thing that's happened the entire time I've been here, and I've been here for 7 years, so I'm not really worried that much, especially like in a small town. 'Cause everyone knows everyone, so
What are your thoughts, Shanti?
Um, well, I'd say, I mean, yes, because the reality of it is unfortunately it does happen a lot. I might go to a school with a lot of security, and while like, I feel safer than I have at previous schools, it's still something that like we have to think about because it is, of course, a very big problem in America. I mean, it extends to more than just schools, but of course, schools are very much like that is a big topic. Um, like just in general. So it is definitely something that it's like, you have to think about.
Right.
And it's not fun, but like personally, like I feel safe at my school, but I also know that it's like, that safety only goes to a certain extent.
How do they prepare y'all if that does happen? What do they do to get you guys prepared? Do they do drills? What do they do?
they do nothing here. The only drills we do is like the normal like tornado, hurricane, fire. Those are the only drills we do. Um, no like school shooting drills, no. I don't think we've done like a code red, which is like a bomb threat or something. We've done those like once or twice every couple years or every year. So we
What
don't
about
do
you,
much
Shanti?
for
Yeah, we do drills. We have like certain designated rooms to go to, depending on which class you're in. Um, but I let's see, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Um, I like there's typically like a difference between just like lockdown drills and like active shooter drills. But we do lockdown drills, which is like the closest thing.
And are kids scared? You go into school and look and wonder, does that kid have a gun with them today? Or, that kid's been, or teenager's been acting differently and
Yeah.
withdrawing. And you see, and you look at him and wonder, does he have a manifesto? Is he carrying a weapon? Is he, and then you just look, but you don't want them to see you looking. but you're really like, okay, my guard's up a little bit because this is not.
Yeah.
And what can you do? Report it to a teacher or principal, and then what?
Well, the unfortunate thing about all of this is it's very, at a, community level, like at a school level, really, there are things you can do, but it's more something that's at a higher level than just like your school in particular. Like, we're bullying, like there are certain schools that have more, bullying than others, and it's something that really we can deal with. But in this case, no. Like,
What do you guys
it's a
think
much
about them talking about allowing teachers to have guns on them?
I did not know of that.
It's been in talks for a few years.
Um,
ab oh, you want to go first?
it doesn't matter.
Um, Personally, absolutely not. That's not a solution. In fact, that's in some ways more dangerous. It provides like, when there's a gun in a classroom, then
Right.
that's only really like perpetuating the problem.
We have security. We have like police officers in our school, like at all times, one or two per school. It's always there every single day. And they're like the only ones allowed to carry guns. I don't see why teachers need to, and if kids know it's there, it's easy access for them to get to it, especially like here, almost like everyone knows how to use a gun. So if you can get to it, they're like you're gonna know how to use it against people, like, and you wouldn't have to bring like your own if there was like one you want to, yeah.
What do you think of?
I'm sorry, I was really listening. I wanted to put my
I
hands.
think teachers should have guns on.
No, absolutely not. It's definitely happening.
Right.
And then that, like, in school, like, in a high school kind of, in painful and things, but on them, absolutely not. No way.
But you have like, say the quarterback or the linebacker or one of the big football players, and you have a tiny little teacher who's carrying a gun on them. I mean, that teacher could get overthrown in a moment's notice, and then there's the gun in the hand of the kid. And that's really scary.
Yeah.
I mean, that's super scary. We didn't have all this when I was in school back in 1810. Don't laugh, Shanti. I know she's going to. But seriously, like we played dodgeball outside and we didn't get written up for hitting another kid because we're playing dodgeball. Like, do you guys even do PE at all anymore?
Yeah.
My entire PE class consisted of us sitting on the ground and doing nothing. So, or at least this year. Last year was better. We actually did stuff. But like that's the last time you're ever gonna do anything in PE.
Do you guys like that they stopped teaching cursive and spelling and all that? Do you guys like that, or do you think it should go back into the curriculum?
I like
See,
cursive.
I had my mom as my English teacher, but
I know Shanti's
so
like, oh,
um she actually did cursive with us more towards the end of the year, but if you wanted to learn cursive, she would print you stuff out for it and help you. And she would help you spell stuff, and like we kind of learned that. And I don't remember what they're doing, but our primary center, so like your pre-K through third grade, they're gonna teach them completely differently how like to sound out words and stuff than how we did it. I think it's gonna be like is it called phonics or something like that? I don't know. It's like a new way to teach kids and stuff.
So I have a lot of people ask me, and I try to stay on top of it as much as I can. Explain to me, because like I know personally some pansexuals, heterosexuals, and metrosexuals and all that, but where are all those, because in the LGBTQIA, that not everybody is listed in there. So how do you guys decide, how do you figure out who you relate to or who you consider yourself to be? How do you guys as teenagers figure that out?
Um, oh, I watched a TikTok video the other day, and it was talking about like looking at people's butts. I'm like, what? And apparently that's a thing. If you
What?
depending
Not
on what
100% not.
gender what gender's butt you look at depends on who you are. Not really sure.
Never heard that.
I don't know what that one's all about. But I don't really know how you figure that out. I don't know, I guess it's just who you what you're I don't want to say drawn to because that just
Yeah, but like
because I know
how do you figure out, okay, I'm a pansexual when I've never heard that term in an LGBTQIA, segment? How do you guys figure out, oh, I'm a pansexual or I'm or this or you know what I mean? Like everybody should be included and accepted for who they are. But I'm wondering
yeah.
what is the process to figure out just who you are? Shadi, what do you think?
Ooh, good question. I mean, I'd say there really isn't one. It's like, how do you feel internally? And then from there, you can find people, friends that you relate to and talk to them. And then really that's how I think it's just by like, because I think, you know, I know there's a lot of labels and I personally think it's really cool because it's helping people like identify like who they are
Um,
and um, you know, like in many ways like feel less alone, but also like find a community.
yeah. But I'm just saying, like, if you're heterosexual or homosexual or bisexual, whatever, but where do teenagers go and look and say, oh, this is like pansexuality? That's again, how do you, figure out that? Because I want to be able to stay. I work with a lot of kids and I want to be able to stay up to date and I know what they're talking about. But how do you, especially girls, decide this is where I am? I mean, I'm thrilled and proud of y'all for figuring that out, but how do you know?
See, I don't get the difference between like bisexual and pansexual. Like they're pretty much the same thing, aren't they?
Uh, I have friends who like I identify with like those sexualities, so I kind of like get the difference slightly. But I think more so a lot of it, comes from like say you're gonna read a book or you meet someone else who you feel like is very, very similar to you, and then they identify with that label. So really it's about, just like discovering it and then like figuring out like, like if you really like relate to that term.
Yeah, it's so much easier, I've seen, for individuals to come out and identify who they are than it was 20, 30 years ago. People were petrified. And the only thing that was identified back then is either you're gay or straight. Like, or I think bi came out much later on. It was either one or the other. And now there's just this plethora of opportunity. And I think that's amazing. But, there were people back in the day, 1812, where they wouldn't even say out loud who they were because they were fear of the retaliation of others. And I don't think that's right. Like Shanti said earlier, there's so much other stuff going on in the world. And I know I've told Abby and I've said this to Faith a million times. I don't care who you're with, as long as whoever you're with loves you unconditionally and doesn't put their hands on you in an unwarranted manner. I could care less who you're with. But back then people were so afraid because they were shamed and even people got beaten up if they came out and said they were gay, back in those days. And that's wrong because it's not bothering you. Like some of my closest friends are gay and they're married, guys and girls. I have no problem with it. I'm fine in my sexuality. I'm thrilled they have unconditional love between them. So with everything going on in this world, why do we have to focus on something that's really in the whole scheme of things so tedious?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
I've never seen Abby this quiet ever. Never. She is a
I'm
chatterbox. She said a chatterbox.
I'm well, I don't want to say thinking because well, I mean, I kind of am, but like going over like the points you've said and stuff and like looking at like the schools and stuff and also don't really know what to say because like everything's been said.
I just think
So
they should be doing more things to help people, out in the world than to criticize, because I don't think a child should have to spend their adulthood recovering from their childhood, from the bullying and just wrongful treatment, which in a way don't bully you as teenagers. You need a safe haven, you need a safe place. And if God forbid, and I'm not saying either of you are, and we all know Faith isn't, but if you're in a home situation where it's not home, it's a house, and you hate going home because you're gonna get yelled at, screamed at, or hit, or whatever, then you come to school and you're being made fun of because one reason you wear glasses, or you're overweight, or you have purple hair, which I think is awesome, or you have whatever the case may be. That individual teenager has no outlet. And I think that they're just bottling it all up until they can't suppress it anymore. That's just going to be this huge, blowout. And I think that a lot of time, a lot of parents don't want to sit and listen to their kids, don't want to sit and, be a part of their day and hear what they have to say and try to make a change. How do you guys go about trying to make change?
I have two things to say. First one's completely out of context. I finally found the picture of me with my purple hair, which I will send to y'all. And number two, going the saying that I know a lot is like every little thing you do changes like somehow or something. And it's right. So in like you could say one nice thing to someone and like that could save their life or something. It's just like being kind and nice and understanding what people are going through. Because you don't really know what they're going through unless they confide in you. Confide.
But yeah.
Okay.
What do you think? What's your thoughts on it?
Oh, me. Honestly, like everything that was just said, like being kind to people is really important, and really speaking up and being honest.
And you, Your Majesty, what do you think? But how you can help other people from being bullied and hurt?
Well, honestly, I would help other people from being bullied and all that by confidently letting them go be okay and trying to find ways to help them get through it and all that. No matter what, they are not alone.
Right, they're not.
And they feel like that, but there are people out there who care for them.
Absolutely. So if each one of you guys could give one piece of advice to y'all's millions and millions of followers, what would it be? All right, Shanti, you go first.
All right. First off, even though this is kind of like lame advice, first off, never give up, and then second, just be nice. Like, it's really not that hard to just be nice to everyone, you know.
Right.
Don't. Well, I don't know. Get me for now. Come back to me. I'll figure
Hey,
something out.
what is your good piece of advice to pass on to others?
Medical not in real kind. And now every one political island I ask what's for. A complete and complete can make you.
That's an amazing thing. That quote is amazing.
But there are also certain people that really stand out to others. And that would mean if you look up, then the pain on that and get things a bit will overcome you. So don't let it happen no matter what, never give up. Especially on yourself.
That's awesome. All right, what did you think of
I think I have mine. Don't be afraid to tell people the truth because there are people who are understanding and will care.
Shanti, I'm gonna put all of the information how to get to you on the show notes. I want you to promise me that you will come back again
Of course.
because we love having you. I know that you've become friends with Faith and she adores you and she talks all the time about, oh, she's writing a new book. So that's super cool. Y'all keep in touch with each other. Then she's writing me something. That's amazing. I want to make sure that you all come back again and have an amazing summer and do amazing fun things because you guys are just amazing people giving so much hope to those that need it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you guys.
You're welcome. It was fun.
Bye, Shanti. Talk to you soon.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Of course, sweetheart.